Hello, Book Thinkers family. Today's book review is going to come from Spiritual Rebel by Sarah Bowen, subtitled A Positively Addictive Guide to Finding Deeper Perspective and Higher Purpose. When I first saw this book, I picked it up and I looked at the back and it said, a God-optional approach to spirituality that draws on ancient wisdom and modern pop culture. As soon as I saw that, I knew that this was going to be a great book for me. I'm a big believer in deviating from the traditional path, and I'm always going to be a fan of the word rebel being used in a book title. I've also always had a major interest in better connecting to my spiritual side or having more meaningful spiritual experiences in my own life. But like many others, I've struggled to commit exclusively to one path, or I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. Whatever the excuse might be, those barriers have always prevented me from better connecting to a higher purpose. So I was super excited that I got the chance to read Sarah Bowen's book because it was exactly what the doctor ordered. So let me ask you, are you a spiritual rebel? And what exactly does that even mean? Well, Bowen says that defining a spiritual rebel is sort of like describing the rules of Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. Similarly, many of us have hidden our rebelliousness at one point or another for this fear of being called dissident, an instigator, a troublemaker, or an unbeliever. Many of us have experienced this pain of being pushed out of a community we once felt loved by when the edges of our beliefs started to expand. This causes many of us to be sort of cautious about belief statements we might make and leads to a certain do-it-yourself attitude towards spirituality. Studies show that only about 39% of US adults consider themselves to be highly religious. But what's most interesting about our current culture is that these surveys don't include people who are becoming increasingly more spiritual or people who can't neatly check off a box on what they believe and how they practice it. So in short, our definition of religion is expanding. And as we redefine what is sacred, spiritual, and religious and what those words mean to us personally, we're able to experience a wider range of meaningful activity. Like Bowen, many of us are taught as children that spirituality has to be linked and limited to scripture reading, going to church, and prayer. And while this is exactly what some people need, there are others who continue to search for that thing that makes them feel the most alive, connected, and at peace with the world. So begins many of us incorporating activities from multiple different faith traditions into our own lives, such as doing yoga in the morning or meditating in the afternoon, sitting outside in nature, or even listening to music, or visiting a spiritually charged location such as Machu Picchu, which I have done, and let me tell you, you can seriously feel something in the air up there. In any case, our lives and our daily activities are becoming increasingly more fluid and multicultural rather than tied to one rigid formula. And even so, some of us may still do none of these things, but that's exactly the point. The spiritual path is undefinable. We all tread uniquely and profoundly personal paths. And as Bowen says, if you reject what does not feel authentic to your own experience of spirituality, you are decidedly a spiritual rebel. So after taking all of this into consideration and extensive research, Bowen was able to come up with her own definition, rather an equation of spirituality that is both meaningful and concise. She came up with spirituality equals deeper perspective plus higher purpose. You can use this equation in all parts of your life to check and make sure you're on track. If you are cultivating a deeper perspective, you will be able to see beyond your own words to the interconnectedness we all share. If you are living with a higher purpose, you will be able to make better, more educated daily decisions which support that connection. And this alone can be your spiritual practice. The book then goes on to include 3 weeks worth of creative activities called spiritual moments to integrate into your daily life. And as Bowen explains, these moments connect to make days, which combine into weeks and then meld into months, each activity becoming part of a greater aliveness. Dedicating each day to a different spiritual focus allows us to live the day fully, and I just love that. And the best part, the only rule, is that there are no rules. This is your journey, and do what feeds your soul. Of the 7 days of the week spiritual moments, my personal favorites are Talking Tuesdays, if you know me, you probably know why, and Fearless Fridays. So basically, I'll let you pick up the book and enjoy the fantastic content, and you can learn more about the other 7 days of the week's activities and what you'll do on those days. Anyway, this book has been a real eye-opener for me, and Sarah did a fantastic job making sense of a lot of complex ideas. To wrap it up, I will leave you with this. Sarah Bowen includes a great Yoda quote at the end of the book: always pass on what you have learned. So in the spirit of that, drop a comment, share this video with a friend, and hopefully you can bring this book to someone's life and change their perspective. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.